In a devastating artillery strike on Sunday, February 16, 2025, Ukrainian forces successfully repelled a Russian assault in and around the city of Ulakly, with reconnaissance drones playing a crucial role in the operation as they worked alongside Ukrainian artillery units, which reported that around 10 Russian vehicles were destroyed and abandoned. The failed attack was one of several assaults in the southeastern corner of Donetsk Oblast, eastern Ukraine, in February 2025, possibly signaling the failure of Russia's offensive in the region with profound political implications. At the beginning of 2025, Russia had momentum after successfully pushing Kortitsia Operational Strategic Group out of Velika Novozilka, a few miles south of Ulakly, and was poised to pursue the retreating Ukrainians, potentially achieving a breakthrough at the junction of Donetsk and Zaporizhia Oblasts. With their forces exhausted from heavy losses and intense battles throughout February, they would struggle to sustain the advance and quickly pursue Kortitsia Operational Strategic Group, whose units had already withdrawn from Velika Novozilka. Moreover, Russia has not only suffered significant losses in their limited advances along the Donetsk-Zaporizhia sector, but is also facing broader manpower and equipment shortages, forcing them to prioritize their offensives carefully. At present, Russian forces are suffering devastating losses, with Moscow estimated to have lost 104,650 troops in the first 3.5 months of 2025, according to the Armed Forces of Ukraine. The loss of more than 100,000 soldiers further exacerbates Russia's manpower shortage, potentially weakening its ability to continue fighting in the war against Ukraine. Moreover, the high number of Russian casualties this year alone could heighten tensions between Moscow and Kyiv and prolong the ongoing peace negotiations. Since the war began with Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine in 2022, Kyiv has reported that Moscow has lost a total of 895,450 personnel, according to Ukraine's Ministry of Defense. Ukraine rarely discloses information about its own military losses, but in his latest update on the matter, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky stated in a February interview with NBC News that since the start of the war, approximately 380,000 Ukrainian troops have been wounded, while 46,000 have been killed. Many speculate that Zelensky's statement regarding Ukraine's losses is a conservative estimate, with some believing Kyiv's casualties may have reached several hundred thousand. When it comes to armored vehicle losses, Russian main battle tanks likely won't be pleased with these numbers. The estimated total losses of Russian tanks in Ukraine range from 3,000 to more than 8,000, and evidence of this has been published by the tracking site Oryx, which has visually confirmed that 3,387 Russian tanks have been destroyed in Ukraine, though the actual number is likely much higher. The effective use of Javelin missiles, drones, and landmines supplied by the US and NATO has exposed vulnerabilities in Russia's tank-centered strategy, and to cope with mounting losses, Russia has been forced to deploy older T-62 tanks, which lack the advanced armor protection of newer models. We frequently receive questions about how many Russian tanks have been lost during the invasion of Ukraine. The reality is that measuring the true extent of losses and the overall impact of the Russia-Ukraine war is extremely difficult, and experts often focus on casualties and equipment losses to provide reference points for the general public to better understand the intensity, complexity, and resilience of a conflict. Reports on Russian tank losses vary, and not all sources are verified. Some estimates suggest that the losses exceed 8,000 tanks, while others put the number at only around 3,000, leaving us with a very wide range of figures. However, one thing is certain: Russia has lost thousands of tanks, and the tracking website Oryx has been documenting these losses since the beginning of the war. Their confirmed count stands at 3,387, but Oryx only counts a tank as destroyed if a video or still image can be used as proof, meaning the real number of Russian tank losses is likely much higher than the 3,387 visually confirmed by Oryx. Meanwhile, Russia, known for having the largest stockpile of main battle tanks in the world, also has the T-90, which was once considered one of the best in the world. But many analysts believe that this tank has failed in Ukraine, and this also highlights vulnerabilities in its design and the leadership of its tank crews. As for the advanced T-90, it has faced serious challenges in Ukraine with significant losses as reported. And despite being Russia's most advanced operational tank with the T-90M variant, it has struggled against modern threats such as anti-tank munitions and suicide drones. The main vulnerability comes from the tank's autoloader system, which leaves its ammunition unprotected, making it an easy target for precision strikes, and some reports indicate that more than 160 T-90 tanks have been lost, with 100 of them being the most advanced T-90M variant. As we mentioned earlier, Russian forces have lost around 160 T-90 tanks, and like all Russian military tanks, different versions of the T-90 offer slightly different capabilities. For example, the Russian military has lost T-90S, T-90A, and T-90AK tanks, but the most concerning fact for the Russian military is that around 100 of the 160 destroyed T-90s belonged to the latest variant, the most advanced operational tank in the entire Russian military, the T-90M. In many ways, the T-90 is a combination of the T-72 and T-80, Russia's other main battle tanks, featuring the chassis of the T-72 and the turret of the T-80, with several improvements to both components, along with enhanced sensors and advanced onboard technology. Of all the tanks deployed by the Russian military in Ukraine, the T-90M is the most advanced, entering service in 2020 as the fourth version of the T-90 and featuring a 125mm smoothbore, a 46 M5 main gun, along with an upgraded V92 S2F engine capable of producing 1,130 horsepower. Although the T-90M is taking a beating in Ukraine, it has received praise from Russia's top leader, Vladimir Putin, who called the T-90M Proryev the best main battle tank in the world, with his statement coming amid the ongoing war in Ukraine and the significant losses suffered by this tank. In the battle in Ukraine in May 2024, a Bradley destroyed a T-90M with a single shot from a TEL anti-tank missile from a mile away, making it one of the longest-range tank kills in the war. While the Bradley itself is not a tank, many U.S. military experts and retired officers emphasize that it is a tank killer, a term often used to highlight the T-90M's poor performance.